guys, wanted to show you a little video on tumbling. It's really hard to find videos on tumbling. We looked for them. We could never find a good solution that wasn't some idiot working with garbage equipment. So anyway, this is really the most basic setup that you can get for using water-soluble solutions with the tumbler. Now, you need to do this to keep dust down and to wash your parts and to get a more aggressive tumble. So we're using the cheapest tumbler pretty much that I would consider commercial quality. This is from Northern Tool. It's very low end on the commercial quality. We've been using it a few years old, and it does work pretty darn good.
Purchased 2012. It's 2019.
Okay, yeah, well,
7
so
years.
7 years ago. So this thing has had some parts replaced on it, needless to say. Anyway, ceramic media. I know I got a mix of colors and sizes. They were actually all the same size originally, but I keep adding as it keeps depleting. I mean, I don't see myself separating the rack off each time, so the small ones just go out the holes and they end up out in the disposal tank. So the one modification that we did do, we drilled this through, put a bulkhead fitting or some fitting combination. You come up with your own thing, and put a 10mm or about 3/8 hose through the top with a ball valve so we can shut it off. Then what we have, we've got some switches here because we didn't know what we were going to do. Great little trick is to wire everything in. So I got the pump. I'm going to kick this on. This is just one of those little tiny kind of tile saw water pumps. They're pretty reliable, and they can move dirty water because, of course, a tile saw moves sludge because they get pretty nasty when they're running. So that's all the kind of flow rate I run. I leave it wide open with this little tiny pump, and it works pretty darn good for flushing the media out. Some videos I've seen, they recommend these like crazy low flow rates, like 7 gallons an hour, and I just think that's ridiculous. Flow it as fast as you can. So here's the whole kind of setup. This is a 35-gallon conical tank. Conical, of course, just means 30-gallon. My bad. I thought it was 35 for some reason.
And it's an Ace Roto mold is the brand. You can find these. Lawn care people use them.
Yeah. So this is like, if you can find, I think we bought this from a place called Sprayer Depot. Anywhere that sells sprayer equipment for lawn guys and pest control people usually have these. I think we paid about $130 for the tank and about another $70 for the stand, which we had to modify. So the stand is only this tall. The frame below is ours. Then this big drum here is from Tractor Supply. Chunk of plastic we bought from a plastic supplier. Peoples, I think is the name of it, or Piedmont. Piedmont Plastics here in Florida. Then we've got these 7-inch. They've got a 7-inch metal ring, and this is just a kind of plastic fitting. Where'd you buy this?
That was from McMaster. Now, just going back to the metal ring and the ring holder, I honestly don't know if that's such a great idea because we kind of found doing a 2-bag system works better, and it would actually work a little bit better if you went ahead and, like, if you took the stand if you bought this thing, maybe get a taller drum, maybe lift the tumbler up, smaller stand, and then have all this a little bit more condensed. That way you have a little more vertical height to work with. Because one of the problems we have with this, for instance, is that you don't really have a whole lot of drop to get into a taller container. So you have this really wide container. And the really wide container, you don't get it all the way cleaned out. So you end up having to do a lot of fussing around to get it cleaned. And then you don't have a whole lot of space between the spout and the surface of the water. So there are some things that could be better. This is what we have right now. So I encourage you to improve on what we've done and do your own thing. But you really just need something that will hold the bag open. You don't necessarily need that holder, but yeah, it was from McMaster Car.
Yeah. And then this valve didn't come with a conical tank, so you got to buy that. That's just a Home Depot or Lowe's thing or eBay or wherever.
Yeah. Also, the bags are a lot cheaper on eBay. Yeah. You can. There are people who sell them for aquariums.
What's the micron on these?
100, somewhere in there. I could look them out.
All right. Anyway, these are the felt type. We tried the mesh, and if you end up backing the pressure up, it seems to jet little streams of liquid out sideways, which makes a mess on all the walls and stuff in the building. So I wouldn't recommend them. These These ones work a little bit better. Now, the products we're using, this is reverse osmosis water. You probably got to change it every couple of weeks. Our last batch, we left in here for 3 months. We like went on vacation, came back, weren't tumbling. So like 2 months later, we pulled the lid off, and it looked like an absolute swamp. It was all these lumps and chunks floating and growing in it. So yeah, don't leave this stuff go. And we also didn't flock it, so that's another thing. So we're using Vibra finish products. So this is VF100. That's what all this foam is. This is the detergent causing it to foam. I'm only using about, yeah, I wrote it right here so we don't mess up again. VF100, half an ounce per gallon. So when you fill up your conical tank, note the amount and then just, you know, do the math on it. VFRI 8B, 3 ounces per gallon. This is your rust inhibitor. That's what RI stands for. I don't know what 8B is, but it is what it is. 3 ounces per gallon. This will vary depending on your water. So if you get rust, add more. Our rinse water, I'm adding 6 ounces per gallon of the rust inhibitor because we have a second bucket that we rinse the parts in before we toss them into a tray to dry out. And then I add an ounce per gallon of the VF100, the detergent, to help keep any grease off it. Our parts are really clean. If your parts are dirty, you may need more detergent. But warning, more detergent equals more foam. So that's actually a problem. If you put too much detergent in this, the foam will actually just lift up, and it'll actually pick the lid up and push the foam around the outside, and it makes a mess of the floor. So, and
if you have that happen, a couple squirts of WD-40 will help you in the short term, but your long-term solution is to fix your detergent quality.
Yeah, so yeah, WD-40 across the top, the foam will drop, and if you do it a couple of times, it'll stop forming because WD-40 kind of counteracts the detergent.
So what are we running? This is a 25-gallon tub down here?
Yeah, this is a 25-gallon tub. This is only about 15 gallons of water. I would like more, but my reverse osmosis system is slow and I'm lazy, so this is what I got.
Not so much lazy, just
well,
we want to run a batch. Like, you can't wait 3 days.
So anyway, back to this. I use it's a CM-10 equivalent. I didn't buy the name brand stuff. I got it on eBay like a year ago. My 50-pound bag is going to last me probably another year. So for now, I'm using a 12-ounce solo cup for the tank. It doesn't matter if it's 25 or 15 gallons. I use the same amount because, again, it's simple, and if there's less water, it flocks faster, so it makes this whole process a lot easier. I also have a hose here that's also connected down to my pump. Just show you real quick what I did. It's just a J-fitting kind of thing with a valve on it. So I open this up, and if I close the one in here, I'm going to go ahead and drop this in and start it. Get it up, throw the pump on, make sure your valve is closed because you don't want that nasty water going into this without the filtration media. Alright, so that's going to fill up, and unfortunately this tile saw pump draws about 3 inches off the bottom, so I now have to use a bucket to bail this up. So I'm just going to cut the video here, and we're going to come back after the tank's full.
Yeah. Okay.
One couple more things. So, what you do, have your stuff on GFI or just don't die, one or the other, your choice. So all the ceramics and metal is going to settle on the bottom. So I have a crappy Ryobi drill here on the slow speed setting with one of these big mixing heads. And I stir up the tank, which gets all the sludge off the bottom. Just don't catch any of your wires on your pump or you're going to...
Boom.
Yeah, you're going to have a shocking thing happen. You know.
I paused to say that this system is not finalized.
Yeah, again. This isn't the final iteration. This is just one of the versions I've been kind of happy with. So anyway, mix it up, bail it up, and then I use my rinse water. I got getting these all dried out. I use my rinse water to rinse. I dump my rinse water in, and then this is always new water going forward because we had some problems. So this is always new water. You can reuse this multiple times, dispose of it after a couple of weeks. I know somebody is going to mention, why don't you just use those cheap household filters that are, you can buy them in 5 micron, you can buy them in 1 micron, should clean this right up. We've used them. They don't do anything.
Yeah, they do nothing. Actually, it's, one second, I'm gonna pause. All right, this used to be the setup over here. This is a pair of 1/4 inch filter canister holders. And we had the water came in from this side and came out here. And this was a 5 micron, this was a 1 micron or a 1/2 micron. I forget which one I bought. But did nothing. The water didn't even slow down. The filters, the only thing they picked up was right there, that little bit of grit that piled up, and that's just when we shut them off. Otherwise, this stuff gathered nothing. It was amazing how much nothing they picked up. So you cannot use filters for this. You have to use the flockant. It's the only thing that we found that takes it out. So let me go ahead and go back to that. Okay, so here is the stuff in the top of the tank. This is the bung about 7 feet up. And you can see it's just like, kind of like a gray paint. Very thick stuff. This is the rinse water, I believe. Yep. And the rinse water is pretty grungy, but this other stuff just looks like mud. And you can kind of see a little bit of the colorization off the side. I'm going to go and get a big spotlight so I can kind of show you the flockant process happening, because that's kind of interesting. So
you can't really see but maybe an inch, and this flashlight's really bright.
So we're going to give you a comparison. Yeah, you can see there's the line of the liquid, and it's solid. So we're going to go ahead and do the flocking process. It takes about, what, 5 minutes or so? Yeah, about. So about 5 minutes of mixing. I'm not going to make you wait through that. So
this about 12 ounces of stuff, just a red solo cup full. It can do up to 30 gallons sometimes when it's feeling like it. If it doesn't work after about 5 minutes, add a little bit more, but that's all I use for... got about 18 gallons here, and this should work just fine. Same mix drill, just run for about 5 minutes. Some people have said that this stuff's just kitty litter. I mean, it may contain bentonite, which is the same product in kitty litter. It does not work the same. So, I did try it, though. Don't use pool flockant either. It's also not the same thing.
Very corrosive, that stuff.
Yeah, also corrosive. So this is the only stuff that works. This is the only mix I've found that works. I've tried a lot of things. Just go with this. Save yourself a lot of headaches.
Other thing, how long did we run that water for? We ran it pretty much all day. Like,
yeah, I don't know, probably at least 8 hours runtime on a tumbler.
Yeah, okay, so 8 hours of this tumbler running with metallic parts in full of media.
Okay, so all we're going to do is dump it in the top. I'm going to turn the motor on and just kind of pour it in. And that's it. So, alright, so I'm going to go ahead and stop turning. And you'll see this just separate right out.
Yeah, okay. And I'm going to go down the side of the container. And you can see there's a little bit more, it's a little clearer for one. Oh, there we are. I was like, trying to figure. Now you can see. So there's the water level, and there's the chunkage falling. All right, and I'm going to go up top now, because we were seeing that dark gray stuff. And, sorry, I had it on sanitized mode. And you can see that once the foam settles, stuff's pretty, I mean, I wouldn't drink it, but it's pretty clear otherwise.
Yeah, and this will settle in a couple of minutes. You don't need to let it settle all the way.
No.
This is good enough. I can start dumping.
So yeah, you can definitely see it down there. And coming down the side of the container, you can clearly see with the spotlight on there where the nasty is. So
okay, so now this is how we do this. I got 2 filters. I keep a clean one.
In quote hairs, yeah, air quotes.
And a dirty one. Now this one, I've filled this like 4 times. So now what we're gonna do now, this would be easier if I could hold it differently. I don't like clipping it up anymore.
Your gloves are torn. Do you want to get a new glove first?
It's been like that for a little bit. I'm not too worried about it. So
I'm gonna
get sick.
Delightful. And you can see the quantity of nasty has gone down a lot lower.
The last 3 times, this thing has just made another cone inside the cone. So it ended up being clear water. And this is still mud up to here. I'm like, son of a gun. Alright. Hey, do you think you can operate that valve? Because it's kind of heavy.
Sure. You ready?
Yeah, go all the way. Close. Same thing, repeat. Close. Jeez. And, well, some of the flocking just went over the side.
Sorry.
A little fast. Right.
I'm sorry. You want to siphon that back off and do it again, or do you want to just run it?
Just not that much got over, so I'm okay with it.
We're running it again through the tumbler, so not really a big deal.
All right, so then take your clean one. Now we can flip it up, and we can open it up, and this will flow through nice and fast. If you don't do this, this will just plug immediately, and it won't let water through. See, some of the detergent actually stayed this time. Alright, there she is.
Okay, a few minutes have gone by, and we're now to the point where the clean second bag is mostly dripped out. The dirty first bag has soaked down a good ways. You can see it's solidifying, and eventually it will look like this. And the next thing we're doing is adding in pre-measured, worked out quantities of the rust inhibitor and the VF100. We know about how much water is in here because, you know, we have a mark on the outside of the container. So add the quantity of material in, and it's good to go again for another batch. And we've used this water how many times? 3 or 4? 3?
Yeah, I think that was our fourth cleaning.
Fourth cleaning of the material. So you can keep using the water for a good long time, provided you keep doing the treatment. At a certain point, though, it does just need to get disposed of, and you can either do that through evaporation, which is kind of awful, or if your city allows the water to be disposed of through the drain system after flocking, then that could be a way. Obviously, you'll need to find out that before you dump it, because, well, you don't want that fine. So, yeah, the other option is if you evaporate it off and condense it as a solid, that'd be your other option.